I expect that we will finish up Sagittarius in this video. That's what I hope. Shalom, Islam to all the Moors. Let's get to it, y'all. Let's get to it. Page 176 of our textbook for this free course, The Gospel and the Zodiac. The Gospel and the Zodiac, The Secret Truth About J.C. the Christ Figure. This is by the Reverend Bill Darrell-El. Okay, so why is the truth a secret? And what are the zodiac signs doing in the Gospels? And where are they? What does it all mean? All right. So, let's get into it. All right. Page 176. This is coming from Mark, chapter 11, 1 through 26. So Mark 11, 1 through 26 is the Sagittarian section of Mark. Okay? All right. So here we go, 126. The first paragraph. This incident has long proved troublesome to the conventional commentator for a number of reasons. So which incident is he talking about? He's talking about the incident of the fig tree, right? The fig tree. So we're in the subheading Ara, A-R-A. That's a constellation or a deacon located in the neighborhood of Sagittarius. All right. So page 75, Ara, the altar and the curse. All right. So that's what this is talking about. When JC saw that the fig tree had no fruit, he cursed it. That's the incident. This incident has long proved troublesome to the conventional commentator for a number of reasons. Bible commentators. These are Bible commentators, translators, etc. Any scholar, okay? So this is a problem for scholars. Why? Because it's inconsistent with the doctrine. Okay, inconsistent with the doctrine. The first concerns its sequence in the narrative. Okay, so sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or every even number, every odd number, whatever that pattern or sequence, numerical or organizational, right? Whatever that pattern is, it's sequence in the narrative. Matthew and Luke, Mile's travel. Hey, Mile. Shalom. Matthew and Luke, following Mark. So Mark was the first gospel, right? Place the incident at the end of JC's ministry. Y'all got that? Matthew and Luke, William Doak, Shalom, William Doak, Mile's travel, and Islam to all the Moors. All right. So there's a big problem. Big problem. Matthew and Luke, following Mark, place it at the end of JC's ministry, just before his passion and death. Did y'all ever see The Passion, that movie? I think it was called The Passion of the Christ, that Mel Brooks, was it Mel Brooks or Mel someone? He received a lot of criticism, and the Jewish people came after him. Remember that? the suffering that the Christ figure allegedly went through? William Dokes, Mel Gibson, yes. So y'all have that in your head when you think about the passion. And the death, of course, is either the death by hanging, strange fruit. So they were not this loud before I started doing my live stream. So y'all have that in mind. Passion of the Christ movie. The beating and the torture, the bloody, all of that. And the death, either death by hanging, strange fruit, okay? The lynching, or on a stake, according to some of these organizations' doctrine, or on a cross, okay? So that's the death. John, on the other hand, it's just trifling. Usually it's high school students here, but these people who are doing that, they're adults. They're raising their voice because they see me doing a live stream. Some people are really trifling. Okay. So here we go. John, on the other hand, puts the incident right at the beginning. John puts that incident at the beginning of JC's ministry. So the question is, if all of these Gospels are authentic, how is it that this incident involving the fig tree in John's Gospel occurs at the beginning of the ministry, but in the other three, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, it occurs at the end. Something's got to be wrong. All right. So we see why this is very troublesome to scholars. Let's continue. The author goes on to write, John, on the other hand, puts the incident right at the beginning of JC's ministry, just after the miracle in Cana. Now, if I remember correctly, the first miracle is JC turning water into wine at the marriage feast in Cana. Now, why is that significant? Why is that significant? Well, here's why. When you look at the marriage feast in Canaan astrologically, this is springtime. When the rains come down from the sky, right? It's raining. And the snow melts from the winter. So all of this is coming from the north. You'd have to be in the north, particularly, let's say, North America. Going up into, not all the way up into Canada, right? But North America, above Texas, right? When we begin to get snow, the East Coast, where we have snow, we have 4 seasons: winter, summer, spring, and fall. So the perspective when you're dealing with astrology is the north, where we have 4 seasons. So the snow melts, the rain soaks into the ground, the rain falls from the sky or falls from heaven to saturate the earth. So Mother Earth receives the rain, or the semen, if you will, from the Father in the sky. And the water, or the rain, the semen, impregnates Mother Earth, meaning that the seeds that have been planted or that are there dormant They receive that water and then they turn on. Why? Because sunlight is there, the number of hours of daylight is right, everything is right. So they turn on and they begin to grow. So Mother Earth gives forth her yield. All right? In other words, she has babies. Right? The plants, they begin to spring up. All vegetation, plants, grass, flowers, whatever you put in the soil, it springs up. Okay, why? Because the rain came down. What is rain? Rain is a Hindi, I believe it's a Hindi or Hindu deity. This is where the concept of the Father comes from. All right? So remember, I've mentioned to all of you all in these videos before that Christianity is a hodgepodge. They pull from Hinduism. They pull from the ancient Egyptian mystery system. They pull from, what is it called in Persia? The ancient religion in Persia. It'll come to me. But they pull from a bunch of different religions and sciences. Now, you will recall that the religions are based, they're a remix of sciences. Okay? Oh, Zoroastrianism. They pull heavily from that. Okay? They pull heavily from Judaism. Okay? And also from nature, of course, natural law. Okay? So it's a hodgepodge. They got everything in there. So rain is that Hindi deity putting its fluid, reproductive fluid into Mother Earth. So what happens in the fall? The grapevine takes up the Father's fluid and the grapes begin to grow. And then they ripen. Okay? They ripen. And at the harvest, you can now pick the grapes and make wine. Everybody loves wine, right? Or you can make grape juice. Y'all see it? So JC, so this is JC, right? Remember, his mother came to him and said, we don't have any more wine. His mother, Mother Earth. And so he gets water and he makes it into wine. Everybody see the story? So that's the first of his miracles. Why? It's happening in the first part of the year. Spring. Rebirth, regrowth. Turning water into wine. The grapevine uses that water from the spring to grow grapes so that you can make wine. Okay? So according to John, the Gospel of John, the incident of the fig tree, JC cursing and destroying the fig tree, happened immediately after this miracle in Cana. Okay? So that whole story about making water from wine that I just mentioned, okay, that's the marriage feast of Cana. It was a tradition. But anyway, let's continue. Let's continue. So this is from John 2:13 through 17. So did JC do that miracle twice? Well, not miracle, but did that incident occur twice where he cursed the fig tree? Did JC do it twice? Did he curse the fig tree at the beginning of his ministry, right after Cana? And then again at the end of his ministry? All right? Or did John mess his story up? Is John's placement of the incident purely symbolic? That's another reason as to why the story is out of sequence or inconsistent with Matthew, Luke, and Mark. For the historically minded, these are not easy questions to answer. But the problem is compounded even further when we consider that JC would not have been able to accomplish this feat very easily. Then we have a colon, punctuation mark colon. The temple precincts were very heavily guarded, and a troublemaker would have been whisked away at the first hint of a disturbance. Okay? So he wouldn't have had access. That's the point. The security would have removed him. But the person who believes in a doctrine will say, well, that's the deity's son. So they didn't remove him. Right? They always find a way that's not on the page to explain it away. Right? There's always a way to explain it that's not on the page. Okay? Oh, this is really frustrating, y'all. Really, really frustrating. But we'll keep on. The incident's most problematic aspect, however, concerns the unfamiliar sides of JC's character that it seems to show. Y'all hear that? The most problematic part of this inconsistency of the story and the story itself concerns the unfamiliar side of JC's character. Okay? Did JC really, as John says, take a whip to these people? What happened to turning the other cheek? Y'all see that? Hypocrite. This is what we were talking about in the devil's pulpit. The bad morals that are hidden in these gospel stories. Somebody slap you, you turn the other cheek, right? Somebody offend you, you turn the other cheek. But the religious person will say, oh, well, they were buying and selling in the deity's house, in his father's house. So that's an excuse for not following his own rules. What do we call a person who doesn't follow their own rules? Don't we call that person a hypocrite? Isn't that one of the worst kind of people you can meet? Y'all be honest. A person who doesn't do what they say is a hypocrite. And nobody likes a hypocrite. Everybody knows a hypocrite is full of shit. Everybody knows that. So, according to the author, this is very problematic. It shows a character flaw in JC. Let me read it again. Now, this is not me saying it. This is a Christian scholar. This is a man who's in the inside of the house, if y'all remember what I'm talking about. All right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to put out, he wouldn't know what he knows. Okay? So let's continue. Did JC do it twice? Is the placement of the incident at the front or at the beginning, the second miracle, according to John, but the last, according to Matthew, Luke, and Mark? Okay? Or is it purely symbolic? Those are the excuses, the alibis, the explaining. Okay? The incident's most problematic aspect is that it shows a flaw in JC's character. Okay? We were not told about this. That's why the author says it's unfamiliar. It is an unfamiliar side of JC's character. Nobody talked about it. In other words, it was hidden from you. Did JC really, as John says, take a whip to these people? That's the money changers. That's the money changers. You can find the story at John chapter 2, verse 15. What happened to turning the other cheek? Could JC get angry? Well, clearly JC can get angry, right? Because what kind of person would say, what kind of person would hide information from you so that you cannot understand it, so that you cannot correct your behavior and your thinking and change for the good, for the whole purpose, so that you cannot repent and be saved? What kind of person, what kind of mean-spirited person would do that? But that's what JC said. He said, I speak in parables so that they won't understand me, so that they cannot repent, and so that they cannot be saved. That means he wanted them to what? He wanted them to what? He held back information so that they can continue to live a hard life and suffer and not be able to repent and die and go burn in hell. If that's your doctrine, or die and never have a chance to be resurrected again. They would never enter into the kingdom of God if that's your doctrine, or they would never go to heaven if that's your doctrine. JC wanted them dead, tortured, or out of existence. If that's not correct, how do you explain what he said? How do you explain it? Okay. Anyway, let's continue. All right, what happened to turning the other cheek? Could JC get angry? Of course, he can get angry. He beat the people with a whip. The common people he beat with a whip. You have to be angry to do that. He cursed the tree, the fig tree, because it had no fruit. That has to be done out of anger and frustration. So not only was he angry, he was frustrated. Okay? Some people will say, well, he's a man. Well, I would agree, because those are the emotions that a man feels. Okay? Mark makes no specific mention of anger. But JC's actions here are not those of a restrained and passive person. All right? He is indeed angry, justifiably so, righteously so, as he defends the cause of, as he defends the cause of real religion against the charlatans. So does that not say everything? He's not defending the Most High's instructions, his commandments, which are natural law. He's defending a set of beliefs, a belief system, and ceremonial observances. That's what he's defending. That is religion. That is outside of natural law. In fact, it is in conflict with natural law. Do y'all see that? Can everyone see that? Justifiably so. Justifiably how? Not based upon nature and nature's laws. Justifiably so based upon the ethical system established by the church and the morality that they put out front that they themselves don't follow. But it's an excuse, smoke and mirrors, to make them look like morally upright, righteous men. Y'all see it? It's a scam, to say it most directly. It is a scam in the truest sense of the word. All right? Everybody can say, I'm justifiably angry, right? I have a righteous anger. Okay, but the fact is, you're a hypocrite, fella. All right, and that goes for a lot of you men I'm primarily speaking to. Hypocrites. You expect things out of people in your household or that you are intimately involved with that you yourself do not do. Okay, you're a hypocrite. So is it harmful to be a hypocrite? Of course, you can harm people being a hypocrite. Especially if you have seed who are watching and observing you being a hypocrite. Okay, what are you teaching them? Through your actions. Forget about your words. Nobody cares about what you say. It's all about what you do. So you train your seed to model your hypocrisy. And expect more from them than you expect from yourself. Why? Because subconsciously, that's what you learn in your church and studying the lessons of the Christ figure. You were not conscious of it, but you modeled your behavior after the Christ figure. That's a fact. Aren't you supposed to be a footstep follower of Christ? Aren't you supposed to, how does it go, and learn to judge things? Wow, I forgot. It escapes me right now. But you know, they say you're supposed to be able to look at a matter and judge it, discern it. What's the word that they use? Somebody put it in the chat. What do the Christians or the New Testament people call it? You're supposed to be able to look at a situation and discern and make a judgment and all of this stuff. Up in everybody's business with your opinion. You're a hypocrite. You're not aware of it. But if you're a footstep follower of Christ, you are a hypocrite and a deceiver. Why? Because as you read in the devil's pulpit, and that I mentioned, I think it was alluded to here in this book also, Christ never, JC never gave his life on a torture stake or a cross, or, you know, hung up as strange fruit. No, he escaped. The person who was put up or who was terminated most likely was Simon of Cyrene, the Cyrenian. Okay, the more. You want more information on that story, go read about it in the devil's pulpit. All right? All right? So here you're dealing with a hypocrite and a coward. Let me tell you why. Boy, I bet you some of y'all saying I'm a heathen. And what's the other word y'all probably calling me? A heathen? Oh, a blasphemer. I've been called that many times. Y'all ever wonder why the JC, the Christ figure, was so manly, brave, and courageous? Y'all Hebrew Israelites like to say he was a, not stern, but austere, rude type of person. But yet when he got up on that cross, he was no longer like that. His whole personality changed. He said, don't let this happen, if it be your will. Now people, I know y'all in y'all doctrine, try to make that some type of glorious, courageous type of things that he said. But the fact is, he didn't want to do it. But before he got up, or before that incident, the death, he was very brave. He was ready to give up the ghost at any moment. But the person on the stake or cross wasn't ready to give up the ghost. Y'all go read about this in the Devil's Pulpit. He does an excellent job of explaining it, okay? The personalities, the character of the JC during his ministry, his strength, his courage, his willingness to give up the ghost, doesn't match the character of the person who was up there on that stake or that cross. What does this suggest? Well, how about you? What if you were up there on that stake or that cross and it wasn't you who they were looking for? You'd be trying to get down too, right? Right? You're being charged, let's say you're being charged with a capital offense for a crime you didn't commit. You'll be trying to get down too, right? You're not committed to any doctrine that you're willing to give up the ghost for. I mean, die, right? That's what that means. At least as far as that crime that you're being punished for, somebody else did it. I hope y'all can follow what I'm saying. If you don't follow what I'm saying, go back and read it in the Devil's Pulpit, or go back and read those stories in the Gospels, and you'll see that the character, the personality of the man on the stake is weak, cowardly. And the man who did the ministry was courageous, ready to give up the ghost at any minute. All right? So make a note of that. Don't listen to me. Don't trust me. All right? Go check into it for yourself. And then use your critical mind. Forget about the doctrine, how they explained it away. How they make it seem romantic, romanticize it, glorify it. Miss. Am I? All right, yeah? All right? Do that for yourself. Do it for yourself. Let's continue. Let's continue. All right? He, that is JC, is indeed angry, justifiably so, righteously so. Y'all see that? Justifiably so, righteously so, while he himself is a hypocrite and a coward, because he let somebody else take the punishment, the capital punishment that was meant for him. He escaped. He escaped. Okay? And as you read in the Devil's Pulpit, the explanation of this is wonderful. Okay? And then he showed up. And then he showed up a couple days later. All right, y'all? So the hypocrite is righteously angry. and justifies it using scripture, a belief system. Haven't y'all seen that before, y'all? With these religious people and religious leaders? Right? In other words, one finger pointing forward at you, but look, it's 3 fingers pointing back at him. Hypocrite. But justifying it through his religious doctrine. Self-righteousness. All right? As he defends the cause of real religion. No, that's not real religion. That's not a real drawing back. Okay? If you were to really draw back, you know what you're going to draw back to? You're going to draw back to nature. Clear? Clear? You're going to draw back to nature from that which you came. Nature. These belief systems and ceremonial practices, i.e. religions, they're unnatural. You were not born ever with the religion. You were not born with the religion. They're unnatural. All right? So to draw back is to return to the Most High. To follow His commandments, which are natural law. How many times do I have to say it? I'm sure y'all probably getting tired of me saying that, right? Okay? So he defends the cause of real religion that is not true. Belief systems and ceremonial observances, that is not real religion. Okay? Real religion takes you back to nature. Nature takes you back to cosmology. Right? We're all cosmic dust, as they say, right? Against the charlatans, one hypocrite, one charlatan calling the other one a charlatan. All these pastors, generals, captains, reverends, whatever title they have, whatever organization they come from. One charlatan, one fake and phony, calling the other one a fake and phony. Stirring the pot up. Why? Stirring the pot up. To keep you confused, to keep you busy searching for the truth. Incurring the wrath of the authorities in the process. Mark 11:18. And demonstrating that the Sagittarian phase of the spiritual life, so again, what is this spiritual life? It's undefined. It's left up to your imagination. Therefore, it's whatever you imagine it to be. So this is another portal or another port or takeoff opportunity for you to take off, launch yourself into the narrative, to transport yourself into the narrative and participate in your own indoctrination / brainwashing. These type of general or broad ambiguous terms are there intentionally. They are in tools. They are tools to activate your own brainwashing, to push you or get you off into the story. Okay? What I mean by that is to imagine, visualize, and feel. Once they activate your imagination, they got you. All right? Okay, so, and demonstrating that the Sagittarian phase of the spiritual life demands tireless warfare against all religious cant, C-A-N-T, and spiritual quackery. Y'all see that? So now it's up to you to look at someone or some organization, and you're going to judge it or them as being a charlatan. And whatever you come up with, that's righteous. Right? It's righteous because you came up with it. Do y'all see how toxic this is? See how toxic? And it's, okay, thank you, Dominic. Toxic and genocidal. All right? Destroys communities and families. All right? See that? Now it becomes a matter of whose discernment. That was the word I'm looking for. Discernment. Whose discernment is best? Who has the better discernment? So now it's going to activate a competition. Y'all see it? People are going to trash each other because their discernment is not right. They don't have a proper understanding of this doctrine, of that verse. Y'all see it? So now they start trashing people, arguing over Bible doctrine. Now, what is more effective? What is time better spent? Figuring out a way to free yourself from oppression and doing it, planning it, doing it, cooperating, or arguing over doctrine. Y'all see how this creates? This is like a narcissism or narcissistic person's. This is like a magnet for a narcissist. That's what I'm trying to say. This is like a powerful magnet that attracts narcissists. Why? Because they want to come in and they want to be somebody. They want to be significant. Okay, so you come in and you debate, you argue, you tear each other down about who has the best discernment, whose doctrine is right. What's wrong with your... See, you see how divisive this is and destructive? Toxic. But this is exactly what we see in our communities, right? So this is the cause. This is the hidden bad morals promoted in the Gospels. Or part of it. Not all of it, just part of it. Or examples of it, rather. Okay? It demands tireless warfare. Y'all hear that? Tireless warfare against all religious and spiritual quackery. So don't we see that expressed in the doctrine of discovery? Right? Where you're supposed to go to the Moors, the autochthonous people on earth, any non-Christian, hold them up, take their land, take all of their property, take their titles, take their cities, take their little ones, their women, and make them yours, and give them as an inheritance to your little ones. Wasn't it done through warfare, y'all? Wasn't it done through warfare? What about the whole abortion thing in North America? Isn't that a form of warfare? Where they tricked women, recruited women into terminating their own seed under the guise of living their life to the fullest and being in control of their life. Terminate their own seed. Right? And many religions support it. But it's a form of warfare. All right? What's the term for that, y'all? Places like Planned Parenthood. What's the term? It'll come to me. All right? But on and on and on. Also, these religions, they're a form of warfare, right? Also a form of warfare against the people. to keep you in a religious state of mind, from never knowing, waking up and realizing who you are, that you are an autochthonous, more, the rightful heir, and the sovereign ruler on the planet. Okay? William Doe, abortion. Yeah, yes, there's another name. Thank you, William. There's another name for it other than abortion. It's called eugenics. Eugenics, yes. Eugenics is a form, eugenics is warfare. Okay, also genocide. Yes, William Doe's writes eugenics. Yes, indeed, that's what it is. Okay. So there are many forms of warfare against the people. Oh, I remember. Y'all know treason. Treason is an act of warfare against the sovereign. Y'all know that? Constitutionally. In law. In law. So that means that any public policy, any administrative rule, city code, state statute, that seeks to denationalize you or ignore your status, assuming you're in your proper status, that's treason. Why? Because you're the sovereign. But you'll never know that if you don't know who you are. If you're caught up in the religious system, okay, you'll never know that. You'll never discover that you're one of the people. In the preamble of the Constitution, right? For the United States of North America. Okay, William Doe's assuming the sovereign's identity. Yes, indeed. You'll never know that. And you'll never know that you can invoke the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1836 between the Moroccan Empire and the United States for North America. You never know it. Where you have the protections, where you are clearly the sovereign. You'll never know. You'll never know that the people, first of all, people is both singular and plural. So I'm a people. I'm one person. The masses of autochthonous Moors are also called the people. The power not specifically given in the Constitution to the legislative, executive, and judicial branches are reserved to the people. In other words, the same power that Congress has, you have. That the executive branch has, you have. That you, in other words, you can make law. You can execute law. And you can make judgments. See, y'all don't know that. If you don't know who you are, if you're not in your status, and you never took the time to search about it, right? So you hear about states law. So William writes, do we have to declare that the government is out of No. We don't have anything to do with them. What they do, that's what they do. You have to know who you are, right? And give public notice. Because the public record is the government. The Moroccan government. Yes, the Al-Moroccan Empire. Yes.
Okay.
See, that's why nationality is so important, because it defines what your role is in a society. Y'all see that? It defines your role in relationship to other people and commerce. So if you don't know that, you're screwed. You're screwed. All right? So whatever a state can do, those same rights are reserved to the people. But you have to know your status and who you are before you can exercise that power. Right? That judicial, legislative, and executive power. That means you can decide a case. That's right. Now, do you see why they don't want you to know who you are? As long as you're caught up in religion, you're chattel, their property, their slave. You cannot exercise these powers. Okay? In religion. You cannot. Anyway, let's continue. Now, that's whether you physically go into one of those organizations, those churches, mosque, whatever, or if it's in your head. See, if it's in your head, you're still in the religion. If you're still speaking religious talk, you're under that jurisdiction, the jurisdiction of the Dogon. All right? The jurisdiction, because why? Because you're speaking the language of the Dogon. You're speaking the language of a slave, of a debtor. That's the language you're speaking. So when you speak, those words, what? Become manifest. Okay, y'all see how all of this stuff is related? That's why you got to get out of that. Physically, mentally, and vocally. You must begin speaking the law language of nature. And you even see this reference in the Declaration of Independence. Right? Nature's law and nature's God. Okay? So you have to change all of that, your entire being. A whole new mindset / paradigm. William Dose Wright, yes. So now let's continue. Status, there's really nothing more important than status, y'all. You cannot keep the Most High's commandments if you're not in your proper status. You cannot do it. Why? Because our ancestors entered into contract. This is what y'all call in religion the Mosaic covenant. Entered into a contract to follow his instructions. Not the ones we like, not 50% or even 99%, all. And to be careful to make sure that we follow all. Okay? In other words, we have to live the way our ancient foremothers and forefathers lived before these religions came about. That means we have to live consistently and in harmony with nature. The essence of that when you're dealing in commerce and human and relations between man and woman, not human, between man and woman, is to do no harm. That means not harm another man or woman or their youngins or kinfolk. Okay, but then also don't harm yourself or yours. So it's best to always be generous. If you're always generous, You never harm anybody. Y'all see how it all works? It's so easy. It's so easy. Be gracious and generous. And you know what? When you're gracious and generous, most people will love you. Things will be easy, except for the really unread people, the very envious and jealous people, right? Let's continue. It is a task that Sagittarians, who seem to have almost a monopoly on satirical writing, have taken upon themselves to relish. Y'all see that? So the Sagittarian likes these religious wars, these religious battles, debates, conflict. Probably a lot of narcissists are Sagittarians, according to this, right? All right. So let's continue. Voltaire in Candid, Jonathan Swift in Gulliver's Travels, Samuel Butler in Hudibras, and The Way of All Flesh, and the comedian Bill Hicks in numerous stand-up, The Way of All Flesh, let me repeat that, and Bill Hicks in the numerous stand-up routines mercilessly take the Sagittarian quote-unquote scourge to all manifestations of irrational, divisive, cruel, myopic religion, as does Mark Twain, whose biting words are a fitting end to this Sagittarian chapter. So let's read the footnote here. Voltaire 21, November 1694, Jonathan Swift. So these people were all born Sagittarius. They're born in the months of Sagittarius, okay? Man is a religious animal. That is absolutely not true. Isn't it interesting that he didn't use humans? In this case, he uses man. Isn't that interesting? He's been using human all throughout, but in this case, with reference to man, he says man is a religious animal. He's calling man an animal. Isn't an animal chattel? Do y'all see it? Isn't man, let me repeat that, isn't an animal, a bull, a goat, sheep, chimpanzee, orangutan, those are animals. But he's saying Genesis chapter 2, man, autochthonous, sprung from the soil, is a religious animal. Why is he using these terms with reference to the autochthonous more? Who in the curses, Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68, loses his status and is in forced servitude as an animal. Y'all think that's just a coincidence? Me, no. He that is man, in contradistinction to human, Han Uman, the half monkey, half man hybrid, from Genesis chapter 1. He, as in man, is the only religious animal. Y'all see that? Genesis chapter 2, man is an animal. In chapter 1 of Genesis, the hybrid half man, half monkey created creature is told, commissioned, that its purpose for creation is to have supremacy over all the animals, to hold them as chattel, to hold them in bondage as animals, to work You also, well, I'm not going to go there. They might take the video down. All right, y'all? So I hope y'all see it. He is the only religious animal. Now, are they using religious in the sense of drawing back to nature? It doesn't appear that way. But it could be. It could be that man. So William writes, in an 1828 Latin dictionary, animal means animated. Beast is the word that we now use for animal. Okay, thank you. So, William, put in the comment section what that means. Okay, put it in the comment section what it means, and I'll read it in the video. So, do y'all see it? Man is the only animal that has the quote-unquote true, capital T, true religion, capital R. Now, y'all should know by now that true religion is nature. Drawing back to nature. Harmonizing your life with nature. That would be keeping the commandments, following the Most High's instructions, i.e., keeping the contract. He is the only animal that has the true religion. Several of them. Y'all see that? I think an initiate would know right away what they're saying. An initiate, now this sentence sounds like this to me. Genesis chapter 2, men and women, the autochthonous Moors, are our chattel, and their true religion is cosmology and astrology, nature. Do y'all see that? Let me try to read that again. Let me try to pull it up, William. Animated to be to have spirit. Okay, so spirit means breath. Spirit means breath. So animation would be the energy, the power that enables any type of organism to move about, to metabolize, to produce energy. Okay, so that would be the battery, so to speak, or the power pack. Okay, that produces, that we see, one of the effects of is heat, body temperature, and movement, animation, speech, sight, all of the senses, thinking. That's what has been remixed into the soul, S-O-U-L. They threw a U in there. Okay, and now that energy source, which is a smaller version of the energy source in the sky that we call a sun, S-U-N, okay, that allows life to exist or enables, facilitates life to exist on the planet Earth. We have a smaller one inside of us that was remixed into a soul, S-O-U-L. In Latin, the disk in the sky, the sun, S-U-N, is soul, S-O-L. And they threw a U in there and they called it a soul, S-O-U-L. Now, of course, the breath of life, the breath or spirit, was blown into the man's nostrils, and he became a living soul. He became an animated, breathing man. Y'all got it? Okay. But to me, clearly, this is some hidden information on page 176. Man is the religious animal. So they're classifying, this is just summary, they're classifying the autochthonous Moor, the rightful heir of all land, resources, and energy on earth, all of it coming down from the cosmos, according to their commission. William, is it Kabbalah? According to their commission, they are to have domination, have dominance and superiority, supremacy over all living things, over all cattle, animals. So they included us. Genesis chapter 2, autochthonous Moors, in that category of chattel. Y'all see that? Have superiority over, to dominate. You throw in there, quote unquote, white supremacy that they like to throw around. Okay? To put in subjection. Okay? The autochthonous Moor. Now, you need to correlate that with the doctrine of discovery. Okay? And also Intercatera, Unum Sanctum, the Black Codes, Children and Family Services, family law. All escheat schemes, all bills of attainder, and all religion. Is it clear? He that is man, the Genesis chapter 2, autochthonous Moor, sprung from the soil, he is the only animal that loves his neighbor as himself. So what is that? That behaves honorably. Okay? That is gracious, empathetic, kind and compassionate. These are characteristics of a man and a woman, not an animal. And cuts his throat if his theology isn't straight. In other words, you're easy. Now, this is just my opinion. You're easy to fall for the okie doke. Okay? And you got your whole self-image tied into your belief system that they have you in right now, which is out of harmony with nature. Okay, so you'll do yourself in. He has made a graveyard of the globe and trying his honest best to smooth his brother's path to happiness and heaven. Y'all hear that? You're fully fooled fighting these wars for these hybrids. The higher animals have no religion. Uh-oh, y'all hear that? The higher animals have no religion. Higher animals meaning evolution, the hybrid that came later in Genesis chapter 1. Y'all hear that? The higher animals have no religion. Now, are they using religion denotatively or connotatively? I don't know. I'm looking at it denotatively as in a drawback to nature, as in drawing back to nature, okay? If that's what he means, well, that's true. According to modern science, they're primarily operating on instincts. Now, that's probably not absolutely true, but let's continue. That's his frame of reference, okay? They're operating on instinct only. And we are told they are going to be left out. They're going to be left out in their hereafter. I wonder why. It seems questionable taste. I don't know what he means by that, but I got to run in a few minutes, okay? So let's get through this. Human, here we go, the reference to the hybrid, Han Uman, human nature. Now he's talking about higher animals. Have no religion. Okay, the hybrid came after the man. The human came after the man through the sperm of a chimpanzee and a Moabite woman. The Moabites are the ancestors to the Moors. Human, half man, half monkey nature. What a study. I heard that there was a considerable amount of discord among capital God's creatures, and so I decided to take the matter in hand. Okay, so he's going to start working with it, dealing with it. So I built a cage, and in it I put a dog and a cat. And after a little training, I got the dog and the cat to the point where they live peaceably together. Then I introduced a pig, a goat, a kangaroo, some birds, and a monkey. And after a few adjustments, they learned to live in harmony. So encouraged was I by such success that I added an Irish Catholic. So he threw some religion in there. A Presbyterian, a Jew, a Muslim from Turkestan, and a Buddhist from China, along with a Buddhist missionary that I captured on the same trip. And in a very short time, while there wasn't a single living thing left in the cage. Y'all hear that? And in a very short time, there wasn't a single living thing left in the cage. So why? Well, the author already told us. Because the religious people, they want to do battle about who's got the right doctrine. Okay? They want to do battle. Warlock. Clear? All right. So the footnote reads, compiled by Richard Gilbert, and then there's the website, so y'all can go back and do your own research. Be sure to support the DrYasapa Book of the Law, okay? Be sure to support that. If you feel it in your heart, only if you feel it in your heart, that we need to have our own Book of the Law that is true and faithful to the original language, the original meaning of the Book of the Law, okay? Me personally, I'm going to remove all deceit, deception, and lies. Anything that's been hidden, I'm going to bring it to light. It's going to show. I'm going to show cosmology, astrology, and other law concepts. All right? And it'll have footnotes. It'll show etymology, each word's etymology, part of speech, how I rendered it in English. It'll show the raw sentence and the finished sentence, okay? It'll be true, loyal, and faithful to the meaning of the Book of the Law as our ancestors understood it to the best of my capability, using all of my skills, dedication to the project. Shalawama, Islam to the Moors, PayPal, paypal.me/Zion Law School. Cash App is $DrYasapa. If you don't want to support that way, you can support by buying my books. I've written many books on Ancient Ibaryath. You can buy those. We'll ship them out to you immediately. And then also you can subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course, and you can show up every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the live online class that I teach, where we go in deep into Deuteronomy chapter 28. All right? Showing you the Ibaryath and how to work with all of this. All of the concepts that I'm talking about right now, I get all of this from my knowledge of ancient Ibaryath, linguistics, Islam, and Shalawama.